everybody, I'm Chris. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you're a returning subscriber. If you are, thank you so much for coming back to my corner of the internet. I went to Walmart yesterday and I found a brand new collection from Profusion. I'm assuming it's called the Metachrome collection since the palette is called the Metachrome palette. But once I saw this collection, I just had to get it. We have the Metachrome 25 shade eyeshadow palette, the Meta lashes with 4 sets of lashes and a chrome magnetic liner, Duo Chromatica multi-chrome shifting pigment and primer, the Techno Liners 3-piece duochrome gel liner set, and the Glitter Glitch glitter brow gel and hollow gems duo. So if you'd like to see all of these products in action and what final look we create with it, stay exactly where you are because we're getting into it right now. I could not believe the pricing of this collection. It was so affordable. This entire palette was $15. Granted, the pans are really tiny. I mean, like, that's my pinky, you know? It's pretty small, but there's a ton of shades in it. There were actually 2 different options for the multi-chrome shifting pigments. This was the one I chose because it looked like it had more of a varying supply of shifting pigments. I'll put the photo of the other one up here. To me, they just looked a little too similar, so I wanted to get something that I could branch out with a little bit, but those were also $15 each. For $15 again, the magnetic lashes, $10 for the 3 multi-chrome eyeliners, and $7 for the hollow brow gel and gems. Also, while I was there, I spotted these soft matte liquid blushes, and they look just like all the trendy blushes going around on TikTok right now, so I had to get them to try them just to see. And before we get into a look, let's swatch all 25 shades of the Metachrome eyeshadow palette. The first shade is the shade Online, Platform, Trade, Limitless, Workspace, Coding, Crash, Gaming, Immersive, Futurist, Sync, Teleport, Live Stream, Blockchain, Crime Wave, Offline, Hyper Reality, Altcoin, Matrix, Escapism, Virtual, Augmented Reality, Teleport, AI, and the very last shade in the center of the palette is Out of This Realm. And that's all 25 shades of the Profusion Metachrome eyeshadow palette. I know it's kind of hard to see being zoomed out, so here's a couple of photos of swatches, one with flash here, and one without flash here. And for those of you that love a video close-up, here you go. Next are the multi-chrome shifting pigments. We've got the shades Portal, and Virtual Reality. I think we're a little more successful without flash on seeing some of those flips. Oh yes, okay. Now you can see it a little more clearly. Yummy. And last, the duochrome gel liners. They don't have shade names on the packaging. Hopefully you can tell which shade belongs to which pencil. After seeing all those swatches, this is definitely Profusion's version of a rainbow palette. I actually think they do have a rainbow palette. If I can find it, I'll leave a picture right here so you can just kind of see the vibe of it. But this is definitely a rainbow palette as well. You've got pretty much every color within the rainbow. What I thought was kind of weird though is this green shade up here at the top. I feel like it should have been down here. I mean, it's completely irrelevant. It doesn't really matter at all, but just in my head, that would have made a lot more sense to have the green with the greens. But regardless, let's see if we can create a nice cut creasy kind of look using the palette and the multi-chrome pigments and the eyeliners. I'm gonna start today's look using the shade Limitless, this bright orange. I will say when I was swatching the palette, some of the shades were definitely a little lackluster on the pigment and how quickly they built up, but we all know that swatches literally mean nothing for how an eyeshadow is going to perform on the eye, so this will be the true test of that. Actually, I don't even remember which shades didn't swatch all that great. I just remember there were a couple that didn't really want to build up. Oh, the blue, the shimmery blue. That was a terrible swatch. Oh, there's no matte yellow. What am I gonna blend this out with? Now this shade is definitely having zero problems at building up on the pigment. I mean, that's pretty bright. Now I'm gonna go just a little bit darker into the shade Coating. It's a really deep maroon, and I think this shade is gonna be just perfect to deepen up the crease on the outer half of the eye. But since I'm hooded, I'm gonna relax the forehead, look like I normally would if I'm just looking at you, talking to you, and take it from about the halfway point and follow my crease shape all the way out. And go ahead and add a little bit of a wing. Currently, I'm really just trying to map out the shape that I want, because you guys know the drill. I never know what I'm gonna do until I start doing it. I'm just trying to figure out kind of what vibe I wanna go with. And I know 100% we absolutely have to use the chromatic liner. So there's gonna be some teal liner on top of all of this. That's why I kind of wanted to go on the sunset, sunshine, warm plane of things. That way the liner could be a little more of a contrasting kind of color. I don't know if it's gonna look good, but that's what we're gonna do. So I think that shape is okay. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and fill it in. And I'm also gonna make this the darker color in the inner corner as well, sort of my dimensional shade. So I'm gonna start pulling it into the orange and blending it as I go, as soon as I fill it in on the outside first. And I'm using this shade on the outer half of the crease, but I also wanna use it to deepen the inner corner just a little bit. I'm literally having the best time blending these shadows together. The more red tone just builds so beautifully with that orange. I'd like to blend out Coating now, and for that I'm gonna use the shade Workspace. It's sort of the mid-tone between the bright orange and the darker red. And I'm just gonna start taking that really lightly right above the red shade and starting to blend it into the red and up into the brow bone. Now for the more highlighted section, or the lightest point of the eye look, which is gonna be my brow bone. I'm gonna take the shade Online up here at the top. It's a really nice, creamy, yellowy white, and it should be perfect to blend in with these orange tones. So throughout the entirety of the inner corner above the really bright orange shade, as well as along the brow bone. And I'm really gonna press this in up here. I don't really mind if it gets covered in my brows or anything, because I can always blend out more later. Then with that shade built up, and this is the part that I always try to reiterate to you guys, don't be afraid to go back in with your previous brushes and blend and reapply the color where you've lost it after the blending work is done. I swear to you, it will make the entire look more polished and finished by the time you're done. I've got to admit, so far everything is going off without a hitch. Everything's blending so beautifully together. Just goes to show you don't have to spend $60 on a palette for it to work. Okay, you guys, now the scary part. I was debating whether or not if I was gonna do this, but since we have a black base, I feel like it's kind of necessary. So I'm gonna go in with Blockchain. That's the black shade in this palette. Hopefully it's a really good black and it won't make everything super patchy, but all I'm gonna do is take this just on the lowest point of the crease all the way across from inner corner to outer corner. I'm gonna follow the same shape I've got where the red is, but just slightly underneath that, so it will still be black when I cut the crease, but smooth and fluffy instead of just a solid black. Oh good, it looks like a buildable black. Thank goodness. Okay, that sort of resembles like evil fire, and I'm kind of living for it. By the way, if you're new here, pretty much all of this on this side is gonna be cut away, but I need to do my eyeshadow like this so I can see the shape, so I can see everything coming together. So that way whenever I cut, I'm at least following the same general shape that I've made already. If that makes any kind of sense. It does in my head to me, maybe not to you, but it does to me. Okay, so I've got all of the black built up, I think exactly where I want it. Now I need to clean up a little bit before I go in and make my cut crease. I just need to be able to see how things are coming together. You guys know the drill. So just using my makeup wipe here, I'm gonna try, I don't know if I want it to be like higher and really angled, or if I want it to be sort of elongated like this. I'm kind of liking the elongated look, not this long, but the elongated look. Maybe we'll try that. I can always take it up higher if I want to. Follow this line. By the way, speaking of cleaning things up, this palette has literally zero fallout. Or so far. I mean, even on my lid, it's still relatively clean. There's like nothing that has fallen down onto them. Which, if you know me and you know my looks, you know that that doesn't normally happen. I typically have a huge mess before I clean up. So that's pretty awesome, especially for $15. So I think maybe I do want the angle to be just a little bit higher, but I sort of want to make it where it finishes off right at the point that this connects out here. So let's see if I can do that. I think that's it. I think that is our happy cut moment. Now we get to cut the crease, like really cut the crease, like the epitome of cleanup. To do the cut itself, I'm using Vaseline and a really sharp flat brush. It's like super flat, but it comes to a point. Well, it does if you smooth it to a point. And I'm gonna use this to carve out the shape of the cut crease. Luckily, I can be pretty haphazard with this since the base is black and I have black eyeshadow all around the border, so it's really not gonna matter anyway. Okay, got the inner corner shaped out. Now I'm gonna take some Vaseline and put it right along the lash line and relax my forehead, look up, and now I can clearly see the line to follow for my cut crease. Then grab one of my little pointed cotton swabs, and you guys, these have been a beauty game changer. I love using these every time I cut the crease, specifically this kind, because the point gets in there and makes a really sharp cut, but then I can flip it over and use the flat side to just blend out anything that's left over or pick up anything that's left over. It's amazing. I mean, they definitely weren't as cheap as just regular Q-tips were, but well worth the extra money. We now get to try the Profusion Black Pigment Primer. I'm so stoked to give this a shot. My experience with Profusion products is very limited. I think maybe I've tried some of their palettes and that's pretty much it. So I'm just stoked to see what kind of quality we get out of this primer. It's really black, so that's good. We're not getting like a gray black or even a green black or a blue black. It just looks like a solid black. It seems like it's a little bit drier of a formula. It seems to be really tacky really quickly, which I enjoy. I just feel like you get a whole lot more control once it starts getting that tack because you can press and then pull down instead of it just being a liquid mess that you might end up going over your cut crease with. So I'm just gonna take some of the black and go ahead and set the outer V. That way, whenever I apply the multi-chrome, I'll have some pigment that I can blend into on the outer edge. Now we get to pack on the multi-chrome in the shade Virtual Reality. I'm trying to be so careful with this pot because it will go everywhere. I want to make sure any creasing I've got is completely blended out because I want this multi-chrome to be the star of the show and I need it to be perfect. Okay, I'm so excited for this. Oh my god! Oh, it's so pretty! Yeah, decisions were made and I'm not mad about them. This brush is too big for this though. You know, I was really unsure how I was gonna feel about these being loose pigments instead of pressed eyeshadow pans, but now that I'm using it, I kind of prefer multi-chromes in a loose powder form instead of a pressed pan. I feel like if this would have been pressed, it would have been really flaky and really hard to get out of the pan with a flat brush. This is so easy to apply because it's a loose powder. I mean, definitely use with caution, because it can go everywhere, but it's just so much easier to control. You know, I knew that had purple in it, but I didn't expect it to be mainly purple. I thought it was orange, or like a reddy maroony orange. Hence why I created all of this orange and red, because I thought it was gonna go with it, but It doesn't really. The flip is orange, but it's very pink. So I'll probably have to do some purple on the lower lash line or something just to pull it all together, but so far I'm loving it. It is still gorgeous. And then just gonna grab the brush with the black shadow on it and reconfirm that outer V. Reapply that outer V. I'm gonna bring the outer V back. And if it doesn't seem to be blending well enough and you don't like the finish, just add more black. Wow, that is just so sexy and so cool. I'm noticing now though this black needs to be pulled out a little bit more over here. I think that's a better shape. Now just take some of that red again and buff that edge out. Just like that. Perfection. Now we get to try the liner, and I'm terrified. I am super excited about these lashes. Probably not gonna wear these today, but those are amazing. I really like those. They're super cute. I wonder if this is gonna be a felt tip or a brush tip. Oh, it's a brush. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, so we can probably get straight lines. Luckily, I've got my shape to follow already, so I'm just gonna follow that straight up and probably stop, I guess, maybe right before the black ends. Yeah, that'll be good. Ooh, that's so thin. Oh my gosh. That brush gives a lot of control. No way. I think even this liner is duochrome. So I'm gonna start with just a regular wing even though I'm hooded. Then I'll sort of finesse it if I need to. I say if I need to, like I might not. I will need to. May end up having to make that wing a whole lot bigger. You know what? For this being a drugstore liner, the opacity of it is really surprising. I'm used to drugstore liners being a little sheerer where you have to wait for the first layer to dry then build it up over and over again. This is getting pretty good coverage the first time. I might still add one more coat to it, but I mean, that's one layer and it's still very vividly teal. So just for my hooded eye situation, I'm gonna take this corner here, pull it up pretty high like I'm gonna start sort of like a graphic liner cut crease, and just go ahead and pull that down. This liner is so pleasant to use. It just works. It goes on really opaque. It's super smooth. I can apply it easily. It's so crazy to me that this is all drugstore stuff. I mean, not that drugstore stuff is bad, but usually, especially with liquid liners I've noticed, spending a little more on them is typically worth it. But if Profusion can nail this in a liner, why are we ever paying more than $8 a liquid liner? I do believe the eyeliner is dry enough that I can stick some lashes to it without it actually being sticky, just magnetic. So the lashes are curled, I'm just gonna throw on some mascara. Now that the lashes are spread, we get to pick an eyelash. Oh goody. I think I'm gonna go with the lighter set of the three bigger ones. Oh no, maybe, the middle. We'll go with the middle. These are in the style Teleport. It's hyperspace, futurist, teleport, and virtual. Now, if you've never used magnetic lashes and a magnetic liner before, I highly recommend getting yourself a lash tool that's not metal. Not a metal one. I don't have one, so I'm just using the smallest tweezers I have, just so the tool is as small as possible so it doesn't get in the way. But I'm telling you, the first time you use a metal tool and you try to put lashes on that are magnetic, and you stick it down perfect and it looks great, and then you pull the tool away and the lash sticks to the tool instead of your liner, you're gonna be pissed. I promise. But luckily today we're using our tiny tool. So I'm making sure first that I stick this outermost magnet to the outer edge in exactly the spot I want it to be, because once this goes down, it's not coming back up, I don't think, unless it's gonna peel it all the way off. So, boop. Okay, first one's down. Now let's grab it in the front and boop. Oh my gosh, it's stuck down. They need to be mushed together a little bit more, but that's about perfect. So it's not a perfect magnetic lash application, but it's a lash application and the lashes are on and they look bomb. So I'll take it. Now let's try out one of these gel liners. These were so pretty on the back of my hand, albeit not very pigmented. Like they took a lot of building up, but that's not to say they won't be amazing on the waterline. So let's find out. I'm going to attempt to do this where you can still see. I apologize if you can't. It's so difficult to do eyeliner in the waterline and to make sure that you're in camera view as well. We'll do it like this. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I just love the duochrome flip. It's yellow, but it's pink. It reminds me of Easter, actually. We've only got one product left and it's the brow gel and gem. So give me just a second to finish all my face makeup and we'll come back and finish the brows. Everything is now done except the brows. Well, I mean, I filled them with color. I just used a brow pencil and filled them with color, but everything is done except brow gel. So now let's check out the brow gel and the hollow gems. Maybe not the hollow gems. I don't know how to use this. I don't really understand what exactly it is. I mean, obviously it's got gel in the bottom, like right here, and it's like an iridescent sparkly gel. And then of course the gems are on this side. And they're pretty large gems, so that's the part I don't really understand. Like, am I supposed to stick them on the gel? Or do I need to use some lash glue and stick them on somewhere? Is it just meant to be like a cute addition to it? And you can use the gems separately and it just had both things in one? I don't understand, I don't know. But we're just gonna use the brow gel first and see what happens. Oh wow, it actually does look really, really pretty when you first pull it out because it's so iridescent. I wonder if it's iridescent enough to actually color my brows or what's the deal? It's definitely adding glitter. It's really thick. You know, this may be a product that might need to be used when you don't do anything else to your brows, like when you don't have any pigment in them already, because it almost looks like the iridescence is disappearing, and I'm sure it's just because the brow color I've got in is mixing with the gel. That's just sort of disappointing because I was really liking the glittery iridescence, but I don't know how I feel about the brow gel itself, like the gel formula, the gel consistency. It's just really, really thick. It looks like I just had a wild Friday night. But my brows are lifted and set, I will say that. I mean, look, they're just very goopy. Okay, I think I know what I'm gonna have to do. I think I'm gonna have to stay away from the soap brow sort of effect, like that lifted kind of effect, because all the gel just wants to gather right at the top of the brows, and it doesn't look flattering. It looks goopy and gross. But this looks good. You can still see some of the sparkle that's in the gel. Okay, yeah, that is definitely the way to go. I'm super confused about the little gemstone things. Some of them are way too big to be able to even think about getting them to stick in the brow, if that's what the point is. I mean, it's part of the brow product. Surely it's gotta be part of the brows, but some of them are small enough that I think they would just stick right to the brow. I guess I'm just gonna see. Is that what's supposed to happen? I mean, that actually is kind of cute and it stayed there. You know, surprisingly, they are sticking pretty well. I don't think any of the big ones in here would, but these like super teeny tiny ones, those look like they could stick to anything because they're so small. Oh my God, we finished the look. So this is the final creation using the Profusion Metachrome collection. What do you guys think of it? I love it so much. And I think the main reason why I love it so much, well, like for the palette, is because it was 15 bucks. I mean, you pretty much get a rainbow palette with all of your nudes that you need all in one for $15. Plus there's a multi-chrome in the middle if you don't want to splurge a little bit more and get the $14 multi-chrome duos. Ultimately, I really liked everything in the collection. The liner, like I said earlier, just a little confused by the color. I guess not confused by it because the color makes sense for the palette and the collection, you know, bright, bold, dimensional, just fun. But I kind of wish it just would have been like a glue liner or even just a regular liner and regular lashes versus the magnetic lashes, only because I like to hide the lash band with a black liner. That's just a personal preference. You might not care, it might not be a big deal to you. But with this collection, I would say if you don't want to buy everything in the collection, you have to do yourself the favor and at least get these eyeliners. I love these so much. I want like 15 or 20 or 30 of them, but I need them all to be duo or multi-chrome like this. And the palette. So the liners and the palette. I feel like this combo is gonna get you so far. Not necessarily in the multi-chrome aspect because you will only have the one shade for multi-chrome unless you get the pigments. The brow stuff is cute. It's just, I don't know. Either I don't get it or I don't know how to use it or I'm using it incorrectly. I will say, I do really like this. I think this is super, super cute with just a few little gemstones in there. Just kind of adds a little bit of extra oomph to the brows and makes it fun. Makes it look like I'm getting ready to go to a rave or something. I would stand out if I did. But all in all, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I don't think you need absolutely everything in the collection, but what I got, I did enjoy. Speaking of enjoying things, if you guys enjoyed this video and you wanted to give me a thumbs up, that'd be really cool. In case you haven't seen yet, my custom fragrance with Scentcraft is now available. It's linked in the description. If you place an order for the fragrance I created, you will also get 2 additional fragrances with it that pair really, really well. One's a little more fresh and clean, one's a little more spicy and sweet. I wanted to pair these 2 with it so you could customize my fragrance even more with the way you want to wear it. If you do get it, let me know how you like it. Give me your thoughts and your opinions in the comments. You guys know that I'm always hanging out down there with you anyway. Just chilling, just talking, so let's talk. Also, if you like this look and you want to see more looks like them, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. My username is the same for everything. It's just ChristopherJMUA. I love you guys so, so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!